Everyone at Daniel Pharmacy is super helpful, and they also have medical supplies, they do vaccinations. Pretty much everything you could need, they have and can do.
All right, I'm sold.
Daniel Pharmacy, Fort Dodge, caring for you and about you for over 50 years.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
Oh, there we go. It's 4:15. And yes, I have 60 rounds of freedom at all times, naturally. I don't know what's going on with Richard Sherman. I really don't know what's going on with that guy. And I'm going to assume, and I'm talking about Richard Sherman, a great cornerback in the NFL. He had his best years with Seattle. His last team was the San Francisco 49ers. He's a free agent now at the age of 33. And if you're a free agent at the age of 33, the teams don't want you. I think he's finished in football, and maybe that's playing on his mind. But I'm bringing this up because I think Richard Sherman's background reached out and grabbed him once again. He went to high school in Compton, California. And believe me, Compton, California, I'm somebody who's been there. And yes, I was the only white face for blacks. Compton, California is the hood. It's a rough place. It's mainly an all-black neighborhood, and there's a lot of poverty there. In other words, Richard Sherman worked his way out of that. He was a great high school athlete, and he went to Stanford University, which was one of the top academic schools in the country, where he did excel in athletics, but he excelled in academics as well. He's a very, very bright man. But again, he could be hostile. He could be very hostile. There's a great, but there is a clip of him a number of years ago getting in Tom Brady's face and saying, don't you ever, this is when he was a rookie, and I wish I could find it, but he's yelling at Tom Brady in his face saying, don't you ever throw at me again, because I'm the best corner in the game. You got that? And, he was completely disrespecting Tom Brady, who we know now and we knew then was the best quarterback ever to play the game. And I say that not being a Brady fan. He's a little bit too smug for me, but I have to give him credit where credit is due. A 7-time winner of Super Bowls. That's it. But Sherman, I'm just telling you the story that Sherman had he had a tendency to get in people's faces. Now that he seems to be at the end of his NFL career, he's gotten himself in trouble. He was trying to break into his wife's home. Now, I don't know if he and his wife exactly are separated, but they seem to be living apart. The wife's father, Richard Sherman's father-in-law, had to get a handgun, and he did pepper spray Richard Sherman to protect his family, as Richard Sherman at first struggled with the door of his in-laws' home, then broke through. That's when he got pepper sprayed. And it might be good he got pepper sprayed, because the father-in-law may have shot him, and he would have had every legal right to do that, by the way. No one wants to kill anybody, but in defense of your own family, when you have a crazy person like Richard Sherman was for a few minutes a couple of days ago, you got to do what you got to do to save your family. And again, Richard Sherman's father-in-law would have had every legal right to shoot him. And I don't like to report that, but that is the case. Richard Sherman's father-in-law is named Raymond Moss, and Mr. Moss told investigators that Sherman partially broke in the door by repeatedly ramming it with his shoulder. Sherman called out to his father-in-law, "Coming through, Ray," in a hostile and threatening tone. Richard Sherman, ladies and gentlemen, is damn lucky he's alive. Again, Ray Moss, his father-in-law, could have shot him then and been within his legal rights. The family, Sherman's wife and children, began to scream, yell in fear. This was an ugly situation. I don't know what's going on with Richard Sherman. He's intense, he's competitive, he's brilliant, But man, is he crazy. He was crazy for about 20 minutes just the other day. I'm coming through, Raymond. Whoa. Whoa. I don't know what to make of Richard Sherman. It's hard for me to feel sorry for him. I feel, if I'm going to feel sorry for anything, I'm going to feel sorry for Raymond Moss and Ashley Moss, who was Richard Sherman's wife, still technically his wife, I guess. And Ashley Moss had to call 911 on Tuesday to report Sherman was belligerent, had threatened to kill himself, and was driving away with after drinking 2 bottles of liquor. Wow. 2 bottles. Even in my drinking days, that would have killed me. Now, the judge, the King County judge, Sherman was originally charged with a felony. And why the judge chose to drop felony charges, I don't know. But the judge described Richard Sherman as a pillar of the community, and maybe Richard Sherman is. But he is truly and completely out of his head right now. He needs some sort of help. How many times have we seen a woman get killed because of a judge like this in the Richard Sherman case? Richard Sherman threatened violence. He was apparently capable of doing just that. And he may do it yet. But we have a judge who dropped the felony charge against Sherman, apparently because Sherman was a pillar of the community, reduced the charges to a misdemeanor, and released Sherman from jail. The prosecutors wanted some sort of bond, but the judge refused. I'm thinking the judge may be a Seahawks fan. That is no excuse. You know, Washington is one of the states, and they're certainly evolved beyond what Iowa is. And I say that because Washington is one of the states where judges must stand for election, and this judge's action in the Richard Sherman case is a reason why there should be an election of judges. This judge should be voted out of office for putting this family at risk. And I don't think that's an overstatement. I kind of enjoyed Richard Sherman over the years. He is a man of great talent. And I was proud, I shouldn't say that, but it made me feel good, let me put it that way, that Richard Sherman had overcome his tough circumstances and shown himself to be an outstanding athlete and a brilliant man. He's somebody else now. I can tell you from my own history of addiction that he is somebody else now. This is what you call crazy, violent, addictive behavior. And the judge just said that he can go home. So is the judge going to be responsible if Sherman gets drunk, takes a bunch of drugs, and goes over to his wife's house and hurts somebody badly, kills them? What sort of standard are we using here? Believe me, Sherman belongs in a facility of some sort. If you want to take pity on him, I understand that. But he should be in a secure facility where they treat alcohol and drug addicts, alcohol addicts and drug addicts. He should be for his own sake and certainly for the sake of his wife and children. This is a judicial system, again, that's completely out of whack. A judge who got stars in his eyes over Sherman's celebrity and overlooked his terrible conduct, his dangerous conduct. I don't want to see Sherman hurt. But we run a real danger of a murder-suicide if we're to believe Sherman's claims that he wants to shoot himself and his obvious threatening posture toward his wife and family. That's very disturbing. On another subject here at AM 1400, KVFT, the voice of Fort Dodge, you can please join the conversation by calling 955-1400 if you have a question or comment. If you have a comment, especially on the Sherman case. And I know there's, one of the things I noticed about Fort Dodge when I first got here many years ago is that people in Fort Dodge drank. There were a lot of bars here then. I think there were 51 bars there when I got to town. And I hit them all at least once or twice. Some of them several times. And by the way, I enjoyed every minute of it. That I can remember anyway. Senator Lindsey Graham, a Protestant from South Carolina, has injected himself, and I'm glad he did, in a dispute at the University of Notre Dame, where some students, and according to this CNN article, we don't know how many students, but some students briefly opposed an effort to open a Chick-fil-A. And they protested because of the owner's religious positions. Now, this is at Notre Dame, the premier Catholic college in the country. Chick-fil-A is being pilloried by some students at Notre Dame. Now, I wonder how many of these students, and I'd like a brief history of these students and I really like a photo of what they look like, because I think every university campus has its share of weirdos, and I have a feeling these folks are among the weirdos. Lindsey Graham was quoted as saying, "I have always thought Notre Dame was one of the greatest universities in America, if not the world." And again, this guy's a Protestant. And believe me, in the old days in South Carolina, Catholics were despised. So now we have a very Protestant, very obvious Southerner in Lindsey Graham coming forward to defend Notre Dame against some students and gay rights activists in Notre Dame. It's a by God outrage. The students, again, unnamed, and we have no idea how many there are, the students protested Chick-fil-A's reliance on factory farming and environmentally unsustainable animal agriculture, and argued that Chick-fil-A's menu doesn't offer many options. Are you hearing what I'm saying? These people want vegan diets introduced to the Chick-fil-A menu. They are also opposed, are you ready for this? They hate the fact, and these are Catholic university students, they are opposed to Chick-fil-A being closed on Sundays. Because, well, it's just not best for a bustling, hungry college campus. I would say that these students at a Catholic college are anti-Catholicism and a overall hateful group of students. The students apparently have signed an open letter to call on the university to stop catering Chick-fil-A at campus events. To its considerable credit, Notre Dame, and I would echo Senator Graham's statements, is one of the greatest universities in the country, if not the world, told these students to shove it. Notre Dame, in a statement released by the college, say they have examined the concerns surrounding Chick-fil-A's charitable giving, discussed them with a company representative, campus partners, and students, and believes that Chick-fil-A has responded to these issues in a satisfactory manner. Our students have overwhelmingly expressed a desire to have Chick-fil-A restaurant on campus, and we look forward to one opening this year. Now, I would congratulate Notre Dame on its purpose, on its mission, and standing up to a few students who I would love to see a picture of, and I'd love to see their C- students, I'm betting. And I would love to see the students' open letter. And I'll keep you apprised of this little story, because this is another example of a small bunch of leftist radical flakes trying to bully a university. And as an old Catholic, I'm proud of Notre Dame for standing up to these loonies. It's 4:30.
The way things are going these days, do you ever ask yourself, when is the other shoe going to drop? The warning signs are everywhere. The next big danger is food shortages. That's why Americans are learning to be self-reliant